Deep into the Redhawks football season with head coach Tom Matukewicz.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
let's go live to Wings, etc. Right here on SEMO ESPN.
Welcome in the Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tom Matukewicz. We are live at Wings, etc. We're over in the Jackson location today, and we invite you to stop by if you'd like to join us for lunch and enjoy their award-winning wings. If that is what you'd prefer, they've got a lot more on the menu than just the wings. They have freshly made burgers, if that's what you'd like for lunch, wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. They have smoked ribs on the menu. And if you would like to enjoy the appetizer lineup, that includes their ultimate nachos and their deep-fried pickle spears. And we've got Red Hawk highlights in high definition on the flat screens back here in the banquet room. So if you're coming to Wings, the Jackson location, when you walk in the front door, just turn to the right and you come back in the banquet room and you can enjoy lunch with us as we talk Red Hawk football. Now, we've got Blues hockey tonight on SEMO ESPN. That's a 7 o'clock home game at Scott Trade against the Calgary Flames. Former Blues goaltender Brian Elliott, now a member of the Calgary Flames. He played in goal last night. Whether or not he's going to be in goal tonight, but we will have the game on ESPN 1220, or if you want to watch it in high definition, you can watch it right here at Wings. Game 1 of the World Series, we will have that for you as well. Pre-game coverage starts at 6 on ESPN 92.9 FM, and if you would like to watch it in high def, you can do it right here at Wings, either in the Jackson location or in Cape Girardeau. Coach Tom Matukewicz is here. Now, you're from Kansas, so you probably don't have any experience of what it's like to be a Cubs baseball fan, but they haven't won anything in 108 years. I grew up in Illinois as a Cubs fan. You almost have a lot of Cubs fans are just pinching themselves. That's a long time to go without winning anything.
Exactly, but I did spend some time in Illinois and what you would consider western suburb when we lived at NIU. Went to several games, and the guy that owns the Cubby Bear is an SIU alum,
guy, yeah.
And we've watched several. Well, I wouldn't say we watched the games. We got on the rooftops and had good food and something to eat. But happy for those guys. You know, I'm not a fan of anything. I didn't grow up. My family weren't into sports. My dad never played. My uncles never played. So I was like the first generation that ever got into sports. So I never grew up being a fan. But now that I'm coaching, you're interacting with fans and just really excited for both clubs, aren't you? I mean, certainly the Indians have had their share, nothing like the Cubs, but that's going to be fun. That starts tonight, right?
Tonight, game 1 in Cleveland. They have not won a World Series since 1948, the Indians, but I know you have some, or at least you had one really big Cub fan on the team last year, John Slania. And, I follow him on Twitter. He's been wrapped up in it all season long. He's ready to go for tonight.
Yeah, he came in my office and wrote up on the grease board that the Cubs are going to win about a month ago. So he's definitely one of those Cubby fans that all this excitement's all about.
Jake McCandless, Redhawks center, is going to join us, a member of that offensive line. He is from Newburgh, Indiana, a suburb of Evansville. So we'll talk with him, but that's not really Cubs country over there. Maybe there are some Cub fans over there. I don't know if Jake falls into that category or not.
No, but really excited about him being on, and I'm sure you could talk about just the consistency he has had, the amount of starts he's had. Just he's been able to stay healthy. It's such a violent game, and for him to be able to do what he's doing is pretty fun. And he's a senior, he's on our leadership council, and I just really appreciate him and the mark that he's left in our program.
I think 40 consecutive starts at center.
Is that what it is, 40?
Man, that's a lot of starts.
Yeah, he's had a lot of battles. So that's what this coaching's all about, is getting to work with those type of kids, I can tell you.
Well, you'll be back home this weekend. I was looking around the league. You are the only team in the conference who has only played 2 conference home games. Everybody else has played at least 3 at this stage. So, man, your home portion really backloaded this year.
Yeah, it really is. You got 4 games left and 11-game schedule, so got a lot of season left, and you appreciate being able to finish out at home and it was a tough loss, and people don't know how tough it is that weren't in the locker room and they weren't on practice on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and all the meetings and all the time that everybody puts in. And certainly I was hired to turn this football program around. And, the truth is we have 2 wins, and that's tough. And that's not what I was hired to do. But a part of that is we're building, and we have a winning culture, and there's winning football there. We haven't had the wins, and they are coming. I don't know when and how many, but I'm excited about what's left on the schedule, as I'm excited what's on my football team. When you just look at the film and you go through there's a lot of good ball being played. One of our better performances on defense, certainly on offense this year, just the points and the turnover. But I still believe we can finish this thing out.
You talk about winning culture. That's big in sports, especially in the game of football. You came to a place where the winning culture was not there. Consecutive losing seasons as you take over. Developing a winning culture, that's a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, people that know what success is like, and you try to get 150 people to buy into a common goal and all the variables that it goes in, it's tough, and that's the main thing. But our culture is solid. It really is. It could be better, just like anything. So that's why I feel good about this week. I know we have kids with high character. I know our coaches are excited. They've turned the page, and we're ready to just put all our attention on Austin Peay.
One thing that we have seen that's been fairly consistent from your football team is usually you score in your first possession.
Yeah,
you go you did it again on Saturday. You take the football, 9 plays, 70 yards. Will Young gets a touchdown. And
I think that tells you a lot about my confidence. If you go back last year, I never took the ball.
No.
And this year I've taken back-to-back. I've chose to take the ball because I just believed in what I was seeing and believed in our offense. And both times they went right down and scored. And so I think it's just that process is starting to play out.
Boy, in this game with Tennessee Tech, and you come up 1 point short, 21-20 is the final score. The rushing yards you're able to accumulate, 182 rushing yards in the game. That is as good as you guys have run the football this year.
Yeah, really have got it going. I think you're getting ready to talk to some of the big reasons why we had success, and Jake and the rest of that offensive line has done a really good job. And we had a little balance. We didn't throw it 40 times, but when we threw it, we were able to make some plays in there, open it up a little bit. And Will Young was healthy. He got loose back there a little bit, and we've been able to have multiple running backs touch the football, which I think's helped.
And as far as getting out to a quick start, the 7-0 lead after your initial possession of the game, then a 4-play, 6-yard drive that ends in a 51-yard field goal from Ryan McCrum. And that is the 6th time in his career he has booted one from over 50 yards.
Yeah, one thing, just special teams alone, we really dominated that game. We had a lot of good things happen. Going into the game, they've been really good on punt. They netted 29 yards on punt. We netted 40-some. And so that drive was set up with Tremaine catching the football and get it on their side. So special teams wise, we did what we're supposed to do, is give our offense the ball with great field position. And then McCrum comes out there and nails it. And, it's hard when you see a player that has had a lot of success, and then all of a sudden he has something bad happen to him. And how do you handle that as a coach? And, I just want to publicly talk about how much I love Ryan McCrum. Our team loves Ryan McCrum. He goes out and he kicks a 51-yard field goal, and what happens is he comes off and he's not elated. You know what he feels? Relief. And so as a football team, that's where we're at a little bit. When I first got here, we weren't supposed to win, and it's all just googly. Well, we beat so-and-so. Now it's like, I have to win. Well, we've had 2 winning seasons in 20 years, and that pressure that Ryan feels, that all our players, I feel, to get this thing turned around, you're not going to be at your best when you have that kind of pressure on you. And I'm going to run Ryan out there this week and next week and the following week, and I know he's going to help this team win and have a great attitude. And I'm just looking forward to get it going.
The field goals, the two that he missed were to the left end zone, and the ones that he made were to the right end zone. But the ones that did not go through, the wind was in his face. How much of a factor do you think that was?
I would say not. I mean,
Okay.
I think there was a wind. Certainly physically, I think sometimes mentally you think maybe there's more there than there is. But it just comes down to fundamental. There's just like with Jesse throwing the pick or with Coach Tuke making a bad fourth down call. It just comes down to fundamentally you fail because your fundamentals.
Well, on fourth down, you guys have been really good this year. You have 10 fourth down conversions. That's most in the OVC. You've been pretty good on fourth down.
And I called it way more. What's that tell you?
You got a little confidence in your offense.
I trust our offense. I feel like they can move the football. When you get in the 4th and 1, I'm not even thinking about it too much. Like that's the kind of confidence I have in these guys. And we'll do the same this week. So that's a big part of, you get 4th and 1 and you go ahead and make another set of chains. Like that's pretty demoralizing on that defense.
Yep.
So that's a huge asset that right now our offense is doing a good job on 3rd down. It's the same trouble that even NFL teams, it's really just red zone points. When you get down there and you don't have a Paul McRoberts to bail you out, what's that look like? And everywhere across the country struggles to score in that red zone because it's condensed. It's hard. That's why we're defensively, we're the best in the conference and top 25 in the country in red zone defense because it's hard. So we still got to solve that mystery though, because that's really what's holding us back is just the points. We're averaging around 20 a game, and really we have the players and the coaches to be averaging, the middle 20s, upper 20s, and we'll win most games.
Because on defense, only Jacksonville State is giving up fewer points. I mean, you're number 2 in the league in terms of giving up points. So the defense, and you look back to Saturday, your defense gave up 2 touchdowns. That's it.
Yeah, and that was a good football team. We didn't lose to a bad football team. That quarterback, Birdsong, I think will get in an NFL camp. He's got the size. He's got the decision-making, the escapability. Like, I think he's really, really good. And the defense to put that kind of performance together tells you a lot about how far they've come. And so we got to continue. We want them to kick field goals instead of going 2 for 2 in the red zone. And so there's still a lot of work that we're going to focus on this week.
You hold them to 244 yards. So in other words, I don't know how many Division I teams were held under 250 yards on their home field on Saturday. You could probably count it on one hand, Coach. That doesn't happen very often. You held them under 250 yards of offense.
Yeah, did a great job. I mean, we had a good plan. Thought we had them dialed in on both sides of the ball. We knew a lot about them, and I, for the most part, our team had a lot of success.
So it's 10-0, and then they get back-to-back scores. They put a 12-play, 75-yard drive together. A couple of flags on that drive, which helped Tennessee Tech, but a 7.5-minute scoring drive that they cap off with a 2-yard touchdown run. That's a long, time-consuming drive. You don't see many 7.5-minute drives.
Yeah, exactly right. I think both sides had long drives, and like you hit it on the head, both drives we had long penalties. We had them in a 3rd and 20. We had a face mask penalty, got down to 3rd down in the red zone, and we had a PI, which really wasn't. I mean, it was a bad ball and the guy slipped. But other than that, they really did a good job. We had some trouble with containing a quarterback. He got outside the first half a couple times. We had a guy there, but we just, they didn't realize just how important contain was and how athletic that 6'5" guy is. He was a big man, but really he was really athletic.
It goes down in the books. You officially sacked him 3 times, but man, you guys put a lot of heat on him. A lot of heat.
And that was something we talked a lot back. We hadn't got the pass rush that we needed. Everybody talks about our pass defense, but really it was a lack of pressure on quarterbacks. And you hit it on the head. He scrambled to get back to the line of scrimmage several times. We were back there a lot, back there even on first and second down to harass him a little bit. And I think that's going to be a key also this weekend.
All right. We'll talk much more about Austin Peay, but here you go at halftime. It's a 21-17 game. Not much scoring in the second half, only a Ryan McCrum field goal. What was your message at halftime? 21-17. It's a 4-point football game at that point.
Well, it was same as beginning. We defensively talked about the penalties and about the contain. Offensively, take care of the football and score touchdowns in the red zone. I think there was a lot of air left out of the room when we missed the field goal. So we're just trying to get our kids back going. It was a 25-minute halftime.
Right.
But one thing I really appreciate, man, that even as much stuff as I think about from now and since Tennessee Tech, when we walked out at halftime, every Redhawk fan was screaming, "We believe." Enough where we can hear them, and we got a lot going on, and I know that just means a lot to our players to have the support of the people there, and that they noticed them, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So if you're a part of that, we really appreciate your support.
It was a nice little pocket of Redhawk fans down, and they're pretty close to your sideline.
Yeah, it was nice. Sometimes, when you go on the road, they put you over there and way over in a corner, but they
do in Carbondale.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so they had good seats and we got to interact and a little bit with those fans. And so that part I just want to mention and just make sure, let people know how appreciative we are of your support.
The pick six was a big play in the game. It was a pass over the middle. Elliott Normand, their middle linebacker, grabbed it, ended up, it was a pretty good return on his behalf. 25 yards, got it into the end zone. And that's a piece of adversity you really hadn't had to deal with. You'd only had to deal with one interception all season.
Yeah, exactly right. Jesse's done a great job. And just like any mistake, no player, no coach goes out there trying to make a mistake. But they happen. That's how life works. And it's not about the mistake. It's about the response. And I really appreciate the offense, because when they came over, I immediately talked to Jesse. He wasn't hang-dogging. He wasn't kicking tires and all this stuff. He was locked in on why it happened, and then he was able to turn the page and move to the next series. And that next series, it had I think it was a long touchdown pass. I don't know what it was, but we scored on the very next series, which tells you a lot about our response. And just like we'll respond this weekend, because these teams, since I've been here, they always have. They've always been able to respond. Most of these teams have really good character. And when you have adversity, it's like this team. If you build a team based on individuals, adversity just blows it apart. I mean, there'll be holes all over the place. But when you build a team on relationships, and people care about each other, what happens is adversity sparks it. Because when you care about people, that's when you bring people together, and that actually motivates you and give you extra motivation to care about each other and to do it for each other. And so that's the message about why do you play? Why are you here? And it's about your brotherhood and the relationships that we're building daily. And so I think this adversity could even help us. And
as soon as you said that, we just had the 47-yard touchdown pass from Jesse Hoskett to Christian Wilkerson. That is as good a ball as I think I've seen Jesse Hoskett throw in terms of deep ball. I mean, he could not have thrown that ball any better.
Yeah, and he avoided pressure to throw that ball.
Yeah, he had to step up in the pocket to make that throw.
One thing I don't know if you noticed is a lot of quarterback at the line of scrimmage doing some stuff, and Jesse's, we've kind of amped that up a little bit, and he did a really, really good job of getting us out of trouble and putting us into some good plays.
So in other words, he was changing some things at the line of scrimmage, and you and I talked before the game. That's about as open as the playbook has been for him in any game this year going into Tennessee Tech, right?
Yep. And just, it's a new quarterback coach. It's a new offense. It's a new player in the system. And so even though he has that ceiling, he's extremely smart, got great football IQ. It just takes a while. There's a lot of variables out there, but he certainly, I really feel like, put us in a lot of great situations. So we're going to expand on that also.
And that was the first 100-yard receiving game for freshman Christian Wilkerson. Boy, he's slowly coming on as a guy that has a chance to be a playmaker for you.
Yeah, we got great ball skills. He's thick. He's hard to reroute. At reception point, he's really strong. Even some of those RPOs early on in the year, it'd be contested, and he's able to hang on the football. So, and his game's gotten a lot better. Coach Martin's done a really good job with him and elevating his game.
6 different receivers caught passes on Saturday from Jesse Hoskett. So he was moving the ball all around.
Yep, and doing a really good job of taking what the defense gave us and putting the ball in good spots. I think the other thing is just trying to take his game to the next level is just awareness of situations. We had a 4th and 2. I think it was on the 35. We're into the wind. You punt it, you don't get much.
Yep.
If you try a field goal, it's probably not realistic. So we go for it, and he throws it away. We don't practice a lot of 4th and 2 situations because you only have so much time, and that's awareness of being in 4th and 2, understanding that if you throw a pick, well, the ball is getting turned over anyway. Thread it in there, and you might get a PI or give your players a chance to make a play instead of throwing the ball away. And so that's that next step that he's having is go ahead and let you're a good player. Let's make some plays here, be in the moment of these situations, and let's thread it in there a little bit.
Your running back, Will Young, got off to a quick start to the season. He had back-to-back 100-yard rushing games, and then the ankle injury, and you could tell, visibly he has been slowed down, but he's still out there. He's still a gamer, and he's playing every game for you. But this one, 102 yards rushing in the game for Will Young, so that's his 3rd 100-yard rushing game, and got you in the end zone to start the football game.
Yeah, he is just a really good power back. I mean, it's not that he's slow. He just does a great job of breaking arm tackles. His legs are always moving on contact, and it's hard to be a good power back on a bad ankle. And so he was able to get fresh over the off week and really showed again. It says a lot about his other teammates blocking for him too, to be able to rush like that.
Their guy was Dontez Bird, the transfer from Louisville. We talked about him on this show last week that he's a guy that's tough to contain, game-breaking type guy. He didn't get, he's just a special teams guy at Louisville. He couldn't break that depth chart at wide receiver, so he transferred down. Boy, he's a good player.
Yeah, it really is. Good special teams and good at receiver. And did a nice job. I think it still came down to some of those balls that Birdsong, threw in there. That one on the red zone was unbelievable. He was covered. He's scrambling, throws it to only a spot that kid only could catch. And
right on the sideline.
Right on the sideline. Did a great job. And so you got to give a lot of credit to those guys.
All right. At the end of the football game, this close to stopping them and getting that football back. And it would have been very interesting had you gotten the ball back and had an opportunity to give Ryan McCrum another crack at it.
Yeah, absolutely. In that situation, you played it perfect, did a great job, got it to where it pinned them on the 1. There was a little
can't do it any better than that. Yeah. Pinning a team on the 1 yard line.
And then I think we had 2 timeouts, and it was about 3:30ish. And so you're a classic 4-minute situation, and they were able to move those chains. So that's something the defense, once we get in a 4-minute drill, we got to make a punt and give our offense a chance. But they're able to make a couple plays on 3rd down, and offense never got that chance.
And we'll talk with Jake McCandless coming up, Redhawks offensive lineman, the center for Southeast. What it's like, because there were times where you just lined up and it's almost like, hey, guys, we're running it between the tackles. They knew you were running the ball between the tackles because you ran the same play consistently and they couldn't stop you. That has to feel good from the sidelines as a coach.
Yeah, we that's our identity. That's who we want to be as a program and as an offense, and impose our will so we can, win that 4th quarter, because you wear on them. You just keep pounding on them, and those guys are doing a really good job of that.
All right. What was the message after the football game? Because that was a tough loss. I mean, you were right there, and I know on the sideline you guys were believing you were going to win that football game, and you came up just a point short.
There's sometimes there's not a lot of words to be said. I mean, that everybody looks, what do we do now, Coach? I mean, there's no magic pill and no potion. You're going to have a lot worse things happen to you in life. If this is that devastating, you've lived a blessed life, and we need to enjoy each other, enjoy this game of football. In the toy section of or football in the life section, we're in the toy section, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's just keep it realistic, and we just need to keep coming and enjoy each other and keep coming to work. And the people that are not with you now weren't with you in the beginning. Like, just, you got to ignore the noise and the all the outsiders, whether it's your parents or your buddy or it could be somebody, at my church. Like, it doesn't really matter. The only people that really know what's going on are the people inside the program, and just the message is, even like Sunday, I told the kids, just get a little better. We're not on the wrong road. We don't need to take a left turn. We just, as a group, as coaches, as everybody, just get a little better, and that should be enough to catalyst this thing forward.
Well, we knew it was going to be a close game. I think 10 of the last 13 meetings between Southeast and Tech have been decided by a touchdown or less, and that's exactly what we got. Now you've got Austin Peay coming in here. What you probably don't want to hear is they have the longest losing streak in the country. They have lost 23 straight games. They're 1-31 in their last 32, but they just had 500 yards against Mercer in a tight, one touchdown loss. Homecoming this past Saturday. That's the most offensive yards they've had in 10 years. So they're coming off a game where their offensive performance was pretty good. Yeah,
I think their coach is doing a really good job with them. And I think one statistic that really sticks out to me, they've scored half their points in the fourth quarter. To me, that tells you a lot about your team and the character and the culture that you have. And so he's got those guys believing. They're going to come in here ready to go, and we're going to slap them around and send them back home.
And we know how good Jacksonville State is, Coach. They're the number 2 ranked team in college football. Austin Peay was the first FCS team to rush for over 100 yards against Jacksonville State's defense. So they have done some pretty good work against clearly the best team in this conference.
Yep. The Austin Peay's got our attention, and we've worked hard to put some good plans together. And I know our players will. I was at weights this morning. They lift at 6:30 in the morning this morning and 7:30, and those guys had great energy, and so I really believe we're going to respond well.
What did you see from them at the quarterback position? Because they were rotating a couple of guys in here in the Mercer game. Tamarius Mitchell is their starter. He's a fifth-year senior, threw for 261 yards and a touchdown. And then they worked in a freshman in this game, and he rushed the ball 14 times for 84 yards. His name is Javon Craig out of Chattanooga. And he passed the ball for 53 yards, rushed for 84. But they were rotating in 2 quarterbacks. What did you see when you were watching game film with them in Mercer?
They played 4 throughout the year, and this last game, it really feels like they've settled here. And I think Mitchell's their guy. I think he is the best, gives them the best opportunity. But I also feel like they want to get Craig some meaningful reps and get him in there. They definitely are run-oriented offense, a lot of quarterback run game. And so a lot of times they can load up the numbers. You got 5 linemen against 5 there, but now the running back could be a blocker, and now the quarterback runs the ball, and you got numbers. And so that's what they've been able to do, and we got to be ready for that on defense. We got to be able to stop the run.
Is that the toughest type of offense to defend when the quarterback I'm not saying he's Eli Jenkins of Jacksonville State, but, Jenkins has rushed for 600 yards.
Yeah.
To try and defend an offense that has a quarterback that's a weapon with his legs.
Absolutely, because that's just not normal, and so it's really hard. I think the hardest thing to defend in anything is a quarterback that can make a play when it's dead. 2 of the touchdowns we gave up Saturday was a dead play. He scrambled and he threw one, and then he rushed it to the 1 yard line. I mean, and both were sack opportunities. So that's the hardest to defend.
I got to be honest, I thought he got in the end zone, the quarterback, on that one play, but they marked it back at the 2 yard line. I guess he stepped out.
Yeah, but both of them we had contained and we lost it.
Yeah,
and he was able to do that. And then he threw one and ran one. I mean, that skill set on a quarterback is just really tough.
All right, we're going to have Jake McCandless on when we come back from this timeout. What do you want people to know about your starting center, Jake McCandless?
Well, unfortunately, he's from Indiana. I mean, other than that, I love everything about him. I'm just kidding. I'm the guy that loves to hate, but he's exactly what we got a bunch of on this team, and a lot of really good dudes that we got a great senior class, and we're going to really miss him.
All right, Jake McCandless will join us when we come back from this timeout. It's the Redhawks Coaches Show. We're at the Jackson location, Wings, etc., on SEMO ESPN.
Etc. See, Wings Etc. has those award-winning jumbo wings. They're popular for both dine-in and carry-out. Now the word is getting out about Wings Etc.'s appetizer lineup. From the ultimate nachos to the deep fried.
Redhawks Coaches Show live from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we are enjoying a nice, comfortable, laid-back atmosphere, which is always on display here at Wings Etc. And if you're thinking about lunch, they have their daily half-pound lunch specials, which start at just $6.49. They have food and drink specials, including on Mondays. They have 59-cent wings, and that is the award-winning wings, voted best wings in Southeast Missouri by the People's Choice Awards with the Southeast Missourian. And they've got a terrific kids menu here, so it's a great family atmosphere. They're open 7 days a week and late on the weekends because the games run late. We may have some late-running games tonight. Blues play at home against Calgary at 7 o'clock, Game 1 of the World Series. At Progressive Field in Cleveland, Cubs and the Indians. If you want to watch it in high def, we invite you to stop by and you can enjoy some terrific food and great atmosphere watching some World Series or some Blues hockey. That'll be on display in high def here tonight, not only in the Jackson location, but also in the Cape location. And make a note, we'll be back in Cape Girardeau next week for the Coaches Show next Tuesday at noon. Let's welcome in Jake McCandless, the senior center for the Red Hawk football team. Now, you were saying that you had a class a little bit earlier today. What was the name of the class?
Leadership. It's a class where they're trying to get us to work in groups and express leadership and find out leaders and the characteristics of leaders and just try to improve your leadership skills.
Now, you're the center on the offensive line. I would say by definition, you have a lot of leadership responsibilities, right? As the center on the line. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. So it starts with, we got to see the call from the sideline. We get the signal, and then we set it to all the other players on the line. And then from then, I got to make the calls on the front of the defense and then make calls, individual blocking assignments that I'm going to be doing. And then I have to work with the other players and figure out how we're going to.
All right, so give us some terminology here. Let's say you look at the sideline, and they got towels up on the sideline. I mean, there's all kinds of chaos. At least it appears there's chaos on the sideline. And then you look to the sideline, and since we're not down on the field, it can hear. Give us a call that you'll get from the sideline, and that you'll relay to somebody before you snap the ball.
Okay, so we'll get a call, say ice bounce. I have to relay the call to the offensive line, and then make my call on what blocking assignment I'm going to do, and then it goes down the line, and each guy makes their call, and then we're ready to go, and we run that play and execute it. Yeah.
I think he's saying, hey, don't give away any terminology here. He didn't want any top secrets revealed here. I do want to ask you this. As the center, everyone's waiting on you to snap the football. Have you ever broken the huddle? Oh, man, what was the snap count again?
Yes, I've had those issues.
What do you do? What do you do? That's got to be. Do you have to turn and say something to the quarterback?
No, I'll mostly resort to the guys next to me. I mean, if I miss a call or a signal, then I'll look to them and ask them, and if they don't know, then I will go to the quarterback and he'll relay it to us again.
So, were you always a center? Did you play offensive line? Now you went to Castle High School.
Yes, sir.
You're from Newburgh, Indiana, and now that's. What, about 3,500 is the population of Newburgh, but it's about 350,000 for Evansville.
Yep.
I mean, because you're kind of, I mean, basically, do you say you're from Newburgh or you're from Evansville?
I'm mostly saying I'm from Evansville just because it's a well-known area and more people have heard of Evansville than Newburgh, and it's right next to each other. So
the big question is that Cub territory?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, I was a Cardinals fan, and I went to some Cardinals games as a kid, and then I mean it's neat what the Cardinals or the Cubs are doing. I'd like to see them actually win the series in that 108-year streak. But
there we go. I like the sound of this man right here. And so, are there some guys on the team that are Cub fans that you've heard them talking about the Cubs?
There's a couple,
but the Cardinal fans will mute that talk in the locker room, right?
Unless John Slaney's around, then he'll share a voice.
Slaney was the big Cub fan on the team, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, were you always a center? Did you play some guards, some tackle? Did you play some D-line in high school? What was it like?
In high school, I came in as a guard my freshman year, and then I was a guard my whole freshman year. And then when I got to varsity my sophomore year, they had moved me to left tackle, and then so I was playing left tackle from sophomore to senior year. And then when I came in here my freshman year of college, they moved me to right tackle. I was originally recruited to be a center, and then we had a couple of injuries and players go down, and then they needed me at tackle. So that's when I moved to right tackle and played my freshman year.
What is your favorite position? Obviously, you've played them all now. If you're talking tackle and you were a guard for your freshman season, now you're snapping the football and have been for the last several years. What's your favorite position on the line? I
enjoy center the most. At first, it was rough because, you're having to snap the ball and then block somebody, which is a lot tougher than just get out of your stance and then set to someone. But after I've gotten used to it and gotten a lot of work with center, I actually like center the most.
How much do you have to work on that shotgun snap? Because most snaps now are shotgun, and you got to do it for the most part without even looking, right?
Yep. Yeah, we work a lot on that. I mean, throughout the week, we don't really go from under center a lot. We will on short yardage and goal line and stuff like that. But for majority, we're in the shotgun. So we're constantly getting reps at practice and before and after practice getting snaps.
Jake McCandless, Redhawks senior center, 40 straight starts in a Division I college career. How have you stayed so healthy? I mean, you're playing in a position, and knock on wood, but you're playing in a position where it just takes one guy rolling up on you. One thing can happen. It's how have you been such an Iron Man?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of injuries and stuff around me, but I've been blessed not to see any myself. And I've just been able to stay healthy, and I'm going to just continue and try to finish these 4 games without getting one.
How about this offensive line that you've got? Because you guys have worked a lot of time together. Drew Forbes at left tackle, Garrett Baker, all conference at left guard, and then to your right, Michael Cook, Alex Snyder. You hear so much in football, people say, boy, that offensive line, they really have to work together because they need to gel, or there has to be some cohesiveness on the offensive line. Do you buy that?
Yes, I completely buy that. All of us need to be we work together all the time, and we hang out together and stuff. So being around each other builds that camaraderie, and you and your teammates are always working together, and we want to be successful for the guy next to us. So we're not constantly worrying about ourselves. We're worried about our job in order to be successful as a team.
So the offensive linemen hang out together. You guys do all the time.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that at the hotel we were staying at in Cookeville, the Clarion Inn. I don't know if you saw Tremaine McCullough was playing a lot of Miss Pac-Man. Did you notice that?
I did see that.
Yeah. What do you think the deal is with those running backs and wide receivers?
I don't know. I guess he played it a lot as a kid, and he was just resorting back to his childhood memories going down when he saw that Pac-Man.
Now, are you a video game guy? Because I know a lot of guys now are Madden, football,
Yep.
Whatever it is. Do you get into Madden?
Yep. I play Madden at home.
And so who's number one on the team? If you guys are always hanging out together, then you guys are probably playing a lot of Madden.
I don't know. It's tough. There's a lot of guys who think they're a lot better than they may be, but I think we got a lot of good players on the Madden, but I don't know who would be the best. Honestly.
Who thinks they're the best, but they are not really the best?
Probably Ryan Moore.
Okay. Well, it's good to know. Good to know. Now, as far as defensive lines that you've had to go against this year, and you'll face a really good one when Jacksonville State comes in here. Who are the top guys or the top defensive lines that you guys have had to go against already this season? We had Garrett Baker in here, and he doesn't give respect to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, we faced a couple decent defensive lines, but we'll most likely focus on ourselves. We don't see them as that big of a factor. If we can get our job done and prevent our man from making the play, then we're doing our job, and we don't really focus on them. We're trying to focus on ourselves.
What's the biggest difference when you face like a four-man front? You'll face a four-man front here, but a lot of times, I don't know how you're every time it's done in practice, but you guys have a three-man front. You run that 3-4.
Mm-hmm.
How different is it to face an odd front versus an even front for you?
It's a lot different. I mean, whenever there's odd front and I have a guy right in my face, as soon as I snap the ball, I mean, it's a lot tougher to fit up on him and drive him rather than whenever he's in a 2-eye or a 3 technique, and I get to take a couple steps and then work my move on him. So, I mean, it is a lot of work, but we work on both fronts. We have our scout team that gives us a good look every day in order to make sure we're going in the game prepared and seeing what we see every day.
Who's the toughest guy to go up against in practice?
I would say probably Josh Wilson, 98. He's a big dude.
Well, we hear legendary stories. The guy is just the strength that he's got in the weight room is unbelievable.
It's unreal. I don't know how he does some of the stuff he does.
So, how many? If you had to guess, what do you think he's squatting in the weight room?
Over 700.
Where are you at?
Like 650, 675 ish.
Who is the man in the weight room on the offensive line? If it's Jake McCandless, you can tell us it's Jake.
I mean, me and G-Bait go back at it a lot, back and forth. He's got the bench, but I take him in the squat and clean. So here goes G-Bait.
Oh, I think that pretty much sums it up. All right, now you are a corporate communications major,
sir.
right? Tell us about your major. How close are you to finishing that thing up?
I actually had an advising meeting the other day. I found out I was 90% done with my degree. I just got this semester and the next semester, and then I'll be graduated.
How neat does that feel?
It feels good. It's definitely been a long trip.
So tell us a little bit about corporate communications, at least what you're focusing in on.
I'm not too sure exactly what I want to do after football.